In this episode of Pop Culture Weekly, it's all about the brand new Disney Junior series, Ariel. I talk with Taye Diggs, Lynn Southerland, Mykal-Michelle Harris, and more. Let's go!
Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon from iHeartRadio. Your pop culture news, views, reviews, and celebrity interviews on all the movies, TV, music, and pop culture you crave weekly. Here's Kyle McMahon.
Hello and welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon. I, of course, am Kyle McMahon, and I can't thank you enough for hanging out with me for another episode of Pop Culture Weekly. This episode is all about the brand new Disney Junior series, Ariel. Disney Junior's Ariel is a brand new animated musical series. It's aimed towards preschoolers, and of course, it's inspired by The Little Mermaid. It follows 8-year-old mermaid princess Ariel as she and her friends embark on fun-filled, action-packed underwater adventures throughout their Caribbean-inspired fairy tale kingdom of Atlantica and beyond. It's got, of course, fan-favorite characters like King Triton, who was played by Taye Diggs. Love Taye Diggs. Ursula, played by the amazing Amber Riley. And Ariel herself is played by Mykal-Michelle Harris, she is so adorable and so talented. She's perfect as Ariel. Of course, it's also got Sebastian and Flounder and some exciting new friends, merchildren Lucia and Fernie. And, of course, all kinds of adorable sea creatures. So it's executive produced by Lynn Southerland, who I talk with. Lynn is one of the most prominent black female producer-directors in the business. She directed Mulan 2, as well as produced Happily Ever After on HBO, and produced the classic animated film Bebe's Kids. And she is the executive producer on Disney Junior's Ariel, so I can't wait to talk to her. I also talk with Taye Diggs, love Taye, and Mykal-Michelle Harris. So first up, my interview with Lynn Southerland. Lynn, as I stated, is a pioneer in the business. First black female to ever direct a Disney film with Mulan 2. She is a prominent producer who's worked on such classics as Sister Act 2, one of my favorite all-time movies, The Naked Gun, Throw Mama from the Train, Bebe's Kids, Happily Ever After on HBO, extremely goofy movie, another one of my childhood classics, and so much more. So let's get right into my interview with the one and only Lynn Southerland.
So first of all, congratulations on Ariel. It really is a cool project in the world of The Little Mermaid. I think it's really enjoyable. People are going to love it. What drew you to telling these stories in this world?
I just thought it was a great opportunity to discover the richness of who Ariel is. The nature of making the movies is it's a very contained kind of story. This is a chance to see Ariel in lots of different parts of her life, different stories that let us see her as, warm-hearted, friendly, adventurous, and an experimenter. These are all things that we might have had hints of in the movies, but here's a chance to really get inside of her. And so that felt like a meaty opportunity.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how it's kind of your everyday Ariel. Like, there's not this huge potentially world-shaking thing that's happening. It could be something that we run into every day.
That's right. Exactly. She's just a girl living her life and discovering who she is. And yeah, I like the grounding of that versus that there's a, there's we don't point a lot to that she's a princess. She's just Ariel. And I like that.
Yeah. The cast is absolutely incredible. Taye and Amber, everybody. How do you determine? I mean, obviously, I know typically there's an audition process for some roles and that sort of thing. But how did you decide, with casting that Taye is Triton or whatever?
I always like to think of it a little bit like if it were an opera. It doesn't apply in live action, but in animation, the voices help us understand the room we're in, so to speak, and if everybody's voice sits in the same place, then I'm kind of going to fall asleep. So that's an element of the process. That in this show, that aspect probably applies more to the kids, making sure we have some variety in that core group of kids. But in terms of the adults, we're going for in that voice, can we pick up the humanity of the character the way we want that character to express? So Taye really, when he came in and we started actually working to shape the character, I think it might be one's natural instinct to think that he should be a king, and no, he's a dad. Mm-hmm. And Taye is a dad, so it meant it was easy for him to grab onto what we were looking for. I mean, he has a great voice, whatever, So then it's just how do we have him craft his voice to work for this character? And the same with Amber. I mean, just she's almost like you just go, yeah, perfect, Ursula, because we wanted her to have big energy, big heart. And you really feel a lot of joy when you hear her voice. And I think Amber just captures all that. And her fabulous singing voice.
Of course.
Yes.
For you, you did Mulan 2. That was the first film. You were the first Black woman to direct a animated film. You are continuing the legacy set by the recent Little Mermaid film in bringing people of color to characters that are beloved for generations. Is that for you, is that something that you are like, I want kids that see this to be reflected? I loved The Little Mermaid when I was a kid, but it didn't necessarily reflect my friend group. I had a lot of Black friends and people of all color, and it was not as diverse as my life. Was that something consciously as you're doing this that we want, a series to reflect our viewership?
Yes, to reflect the viewership, and also to reflect that we are ready for that now. Like the energy, we have moved ourselves to a place where we see the deficiency in limiting the actors that we either see or hear. So it's a great nexus of the moment. It's a desire I've always had, and I've gotten to work on many projects that had diverse casts. But this was the first time I was doing it with a character that had another identity at another time.
Right.
So it's just wonderful to have had the opportunity to move her into a broader sense, and for everyone to remember that you can, Ariel, why couldn't in another iteration in 20 years that somebody says, Atlantica, actually, she's not in Atlantica, she's in Pacifica, and now we're going to tell it this way. It's like it was a fairy tale. We can do whatever we want with them.
Exactly. I love that. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for speaking with me.
Thank you.
And I can't wait for everybody to see Ariel.
Me too.
Have a great day.
You too.
Lynn Southerland, what an icon and pioneer in the business. And she's from Philly, so I didn't realize that. So next time you are back in town, Lynn, let's get a sub or a cheesesteak at Gino's and talk shop. All right, next up, the adorable and such a powerhouse, Mykal-Michelle Harris. She plays Ariel in Disney Junior's Ariel, Mermaid Tales, and she is an Emmy winner. She won the 2023 Emmy in the category of Best Younger Performer in a Preschool, Children's, or Young Teen Program for her role as Alice Baxter in Raven's Home. She was also in Cheaper by the Dozen. You can look at where I interviewed that cast last year from Disney Plus. And she stars in Mixed-ish, which she is hysterical in. She's also been in Big Little Lies on HBO and so much more. So let's get right in to my interview with the Emmy-winning Mykal-Michelle Harris.
Thank you, Mykal-Michelle, for speaking with me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Of course. So first of all, congratulations on Ariel. It's such a great project and you do so wonderful in it. So I want to congratulate you on that.
Thank you so much.
Of course. So what is it like? I mean, Ariel, like, what is it like to play Ariel?
It is just
Ariel.
Right. I am so excited to be playing Ariel as a person who always grew up on watching all of the Disney princesses and wished that they could be a Disney princess when they grow up. Now actually being a Disney princess is like a dream come true. I am so excited. This is like such a fulfilling role for me. It's so amazing.
And I love that. And you do such a great job with it. And of course, and you have such great talent around you, Taye Diggs, Amber Riley, you have such great, these big talented people, and you are holding your own with all your talent with them. What's it like to work with talent like that?
Unfortunately, I didn't get to be in the studio with them, but I did get to see the first and second episode, and hearing their voices and all that emotion that they put into the character, mixed with the beautiful scenery of Atlantica and the incredible songs, just it brings the whole show together in this beautiful culmination of all of the talent.
Yes, and you're totally right. It is a culmination of so many awesome things, from the music and the score and the animation and all of you guys. It's such a great project. When you are obviously a successful actor, when you get a project like this that is something that has a history before, there's a couple of films, there was a series at one point. Do you feel pressure at all, or are you like, I'm going to do my own take on Ariel, or can you block out the other actors that have played her before? How does that work for you?
That's actually all of those things are what I feel. So of course there is a pressure because there have been so many different people that have played this role and that have knocked it out of the ballpark. And I feel like I have to come in with this, new take on things and, be up there with them and stuff like that. But I feel like it is a good feeling that I know that I can put my own spin on things, put my own take on things. But also, I did a bit of character research. I watched the Ariel feature films again. I studied what I felt like she would sound like when she was 8 years old, because we have not seen Ariel so young. Mm-hmm. And so I had to, kind of come up with a backstory-ish, her Arielisms.
Right.
And so, of course, I was helped out by the writers and the executive producers and the director. So the tiny details I have to sprinkle in myself sometimes.
And where did that come from for you? Those little details? Is it just your personality coming out, or is it, is it in things that you've learned, or where does that come from?
I think overall, when I drop into the character and fully take on the character, it really just comes from a place where I think it would the character, right? And so I feel like when I'm doing the Ariel, I don't really have to modify my voice that much, but when I do kind of the Ariel voice, I really think about the different how she would sound natural, and it just comes out, right? Sometimes I put a giggle on the end of a line, or I do like an extra big smile on this line so that it comes through my voice. And I feel like that really just comes from a place of knowing the character and knowing how she would react to certain things.
I love that. And finally, what is most exciting for you, in this project? There's so many cool things as we've discussed many of them. What is your favorite part of being Ariel in Ariel?
Right. I think one of my absolute favorite parts is all the diversity that is included in the show. There are so many different merfolk that you can see in Disney Junior's Ariel, and you can basically put yourself in their shoes. And I would say that all of this diversity and stuff like this is really good to include in a preschool show, because it's great to show this type of what is the word? This type
Like
of
diversity.
product.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Product, this type of diversity to young children, so that they know that they're not alone in whatever they may be going through. They're not alone, and it's okay to be themselves. It's okay to, like what they like, do what they do. And that all comes through in the diversity in Disney Junior's Ariel. But as an artist and an art junkie myself, I also love the imagery of the mystical underwater land of Atlantica.
Yes, it is beautiful, and to your point with the diversity, I think it's amazing too. People get to see themselves represented all throughout Atlantica and Ariel, and of course that is with huge kudos to you with all of this and making Ariel Ariel. So thank you so much for speaking with me. I can't wait for everybody to see Ariel.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mykal-Michelle Harris. I can't wait to continue to watch her career just explode. How are you an Emmy winner at 12 years old? Like, I woke up with a burrito in my pocket this morning, and this 12-year-old has an Emmy. She's incredible, and love speaking with her. She's so delightful, so smart and talented, and as I said, I can't wait to continue to watch her career explode. All right, next up, I love this man. Taye Diggs plays King Triton, Ariel's father in The Little Mermaid. Taye originated the role of the landlord Benny in the Tony and Pulitzer Prize-winning musical Rent. He continued to work on Broadway, including the revival of Chicago in 2002, and was in the Broadway musical Wicked. He hopped from the stage to TV in the soap opera Guiding Light, then made his film debut in How Stella Got Her Groove Back. And then he just went ham. He was in The Wood with Omar Epps. He was in The Best Man, where he was the best man. House on Haunted Hill, and I love my horror. He reprised his role as Benny for the Rent film. He reprised his role as the band leader in the film adaptation of Chicago, and played opposite Christian Bale in Equilibrium. And that's just scratching the surface. Oh, and by the way, he is the only two-time winner on Lip Sync Battle, which love that show. So, without further ado, let's jump into my interview with King Triton himself, Taye Diggs.
What's up, Taye? How you doing, man?
How are you, Kyle? Good to see you.
Good to see you. So this new project, it is, I love it because it is just another kind of chapter in the universe of The Little Mermaid. And King Triton, for me anyway, King Triton has been always such an iconic character, which you are now playing. What is that like for you?
It's so many things because I grew up on Disney and always dreamt about being in a Disney movie. Finally getting that opportunity is amazing. And then when I think about the project that I'm working on, Little Mermaid, and how a solid and ever living that this tale is. That's amazing. And then when I think of the perspective in which, they're coming at these characters, kind of dealing in everyday problems, very realistic, very down to earth situations. It's excellent. you know, I consider myself very lucky.
And for you, as you know, as an actor, do you find, so in other words, obviously there's been other actors that have played this character before. Do you find it hard to kind of differentiate and find your own take on it, or are you able to like block those out, or how do you approach that?
Ooh, that's a good question. I do neither. I just, since the writing is so good, I just follow the writing. I don't think about who came before me, who's going to come after me. I don't care about my performance after I've made it. I find it's healthier for me to just be in the moment and do what I do and not put much extra on it.
Okay. And acting, you know, voice acting, obviously it is just as challenging, I would assume, as being on camera and that sort of thing. Do you find that there are additional challenges as an actor when doing voice work over being on camera?
Ooh, and I hate when people say things like this, but I don't think of it as a challenge.
Okay.
It's different, and it's always great to be exposed to different things, you know. And in a lot of ways, it's more difficult than acting as you know it, because you don't have your body or your gestures or your facial expressions to lean on. All you have is your voice. So that's really, really cool to experiment with. Yeah, and I love the fact that I'm still learning. You know, this job won't get boring because I'm still learning about it. So I love that.
And when you filmed Ariel, or I guess not filmed, when you worked on Ariel,
Recorded, yeah.
recorded Ariel, was this like solo, or you know, you're doing Triton's parts by yourself, or are you like, how does that work with this project?
Yes, that's a good question. I personally, I don't know how the other actors work, but personally, I am by myself in a studio, and then there are the overseers, you know, through a glass window, the engineers and whatnot. And it's just me. Normally, you might hear someone complaining about not being in the same room as their fellow actors. But the other actors in this project are so talented that when I hear them through my earphones, it's as if they're standing right there. So I can't even complain about that. It's a great gig, you know. I can come in house shoes and a wardrobe, as long and a robe, as long as your voice is warm, you can get down.
I love that. And
Yeah.
will we be seeing further adventures with King Triton?
Absolutely.
I can't wait. Thank you so much, Taye. I really appreciate your time, and
Thank you, man.
it's such a great project.
Yeah, great questions, my man.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. You too, sir.
Taye Diggs, I love him. We've followed each other on Twitter for years, and you know, would send messages here and there back and forth, but I've never interviewed him. So here's my first official interview with Mr. Taye Diggs. So there you have it, my interviews with the team behind Disney Junior's Ariel Mermaid Tales. You can watch Ariel on Disney Plus and Disney Junior beginning today, if you're listening. Well, I guess today, no matter when you're listening, June 21st, today is when it debuts. So it's really a great series for the little ones, and there's a lot to enjoy for us big ones too. So that's it for this episode. I've got some exciting things coming up for the next few episodes, including, who knows, maybe we'll have a return of the rotating panel of guest hosts and start getting back to those fun conversations that we haven't had in a long time. So until then, hit me up on socials at KMacMusic on most places, or at Real Kyle McMahon, or at Pop Culture Weekly. Just find me, search me. Continue to reach out to me. Please continue to review if you haven't on Apple Podcasts. It really does help us and helps the show continue to grow each and every week. And that is all because of you and your love for this. And I do it for my love for you. Thank you. I'll see you next week. We out.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Weekly. Hear all the latest at popcultureweekly.com.
I wanna be